The Harbinger of the Forest. Deep in the heart of the whispering pines, where the sunlight seldom penetrated the thick canopy, there thrived a rumor among the townsfolk of Eldridge Hollow. It was said that the woods were home to a creature not of this world, the Maverikai, a guardian spirit formed from the age-old sorrows of the earth. Born of ancient tales, it was a beautiful being with shimmering, translucent skin and a crown of luminescent flowers, yet an aura of menace shadowed its elegance. The locals warned against venturing too deep into the woods, especially at dusk. Ominous whispers slipped through the trees like autumn leaves fluttering in the wind. Those who dared to ignore the warnings often returned changed, their eyes haunted, their laughter stolen by an unseen misery. 17-year-old Claire had grown up hearing her grandmother's stories about the Maverikai. A curious but sensible girl, she loved exploring the woods during the day, collecting interesting rocks and making flower crowns. Her friends, Sarah and Tyler, found joy in twilit tales of the Maverikai, but her better judgment kept her from venturing too far, until that fateful evening. The sun began its descent, painting the sky in hues of crimson and violet. The air grew heavy with an unsettling stillness, as if the very forest held its breath. Enticed by the whispering winds, Claire took one last step into the shadows, convinced that she would simply explore for a few more minutes before finding her way back. But within the deeper recesses of the forest, time warped, and the shadows deepened. That's when she heard it, a soft, chiming sound that seemed to call her name. It echoed between the trees, enchanting her with every syllable. Entranced, Claire followed the sound, deeper into the woods, ignoring the straining thump of her heart and the gnawing pit of unease in her stomach. Minutes turned to hours. The trees twisted and gnarled, their branches connecting overhead, forming a tunnel that led her deeper into the darkness. Boughs creaked like old men, telling her to turn back, but determination filled her veins. The call grew louder, harmonizing with her heartbeat. Finally, she stumbled into a clearing illuminated by an unnatural light. There, in the center, stood the Maverikai. Its form glimmered like the moon, skin shifting between the hues of twilight. Flower petals draped its ethereal figure like a natural robe, but its eyes were pools of darkness that held centuries of despair. "You have come," the Maverikai intoned, its voice a soft breeze that rustled through the clearing. "You seek to know the truth of the forest." Claire, entranced and frightened, nodded, unable to find her voice. The Maverikai stepped closer, and with each movement shook the earth slightly. "Many whisper my name, but few truly understand the burden I bear." "What burden?" Claire finally found the courage to ask, her voice trembling. "I am the keeper of lost souls, the protector of those who wandered too far and drowned in their sorrow. You see, this forest is a reflection of your heart. It lures you with promises of adventure, but it preys on your fears and regrets." A chill crept up Claire's spine as shadows began to flicker from behind the Maverikai, restless forms of those who had disappeared into the woods, faces frozen in expressions of fright and sorrow. "You will join them, Claire," the creature whispered softly, its eyes shimmer glinting with what could have been compassion or cruelty. "Unless you understand your own truth and confront your deepest fears." Suddenly, images erupted in her mind, memories of her childhood, the facades she'd built to hide from her own insecurities. She'd always felt different, never fitting in as seamlessly as her friends. And now, that fear of being found unworthy came to life around her. The shadows enveloped her with sorrowful embraces, squeezing tight. As Claire faced her fears, the Maverikai began to dissolve into the very mist and shadows swirling around her. It was no longer a monstrous guardian but a reflection of her own inner turmoil. The more she refused to succumb to despair, the louder her heart beat, fueling her will to break free from this illusion. In a surge of conviction, Claire screamed into the emptiness, "I don't need to hide. I am strong. I am worthy of love and light." The very atmosphere rattled with her defiance. The shadows hissed and writhed, clenching tighter until they burst apart, scattering like fireflies. The Maverikai, too, howled with a mixture of pain and admiration, its essence fracturing into 1,000 glimmers of light. The clearing erupted with bursts of radiant energy, and in a blinding flash, Claire found herself alone, back at the forest's edge as dawn's light pierced through the trees, bathing her in warmth. Though she had escaped the clutches of the Maverikai, she would never forget that night. Claire turned back to the whispering pines, where stories and secrets danced among the shadows, knowing that she had not only confronted a myth but had reclaimed her life from the ghosts within. And she would always carry the lesson of the Maverick Eye with her, knowing that only by facing her fears could she emerge whole.